If you haven't already turned in the 8.3 day 2 homework, the turn in folder is open right there, ready to go. Somewhere in your notes, you should have the two sum formulas for geometrics and the any term formula for the geometrics. Make sure you make a little note of those because we're going to utilize those today. Because today is applications day of geometric sequences and series. Tomorrow will be formative day in the resource center. Wednesday will be quiz day in here. Okay? So formative tomorrow, quiz day on Wednesday in here. Okay? Alright, so shortly, and by shortly I mean sometime probably in the next decade, okay, you are going to need to get yourself a big person job. Okay? I know it's scary, but it's reality. Okay? Now, that big person job can be anywhere. Okay? Right? Can be doing anything. Because you figure you got the rest of this year plus then like 4 or 5 years of college. And 6 years of college for you. So 10. Yeah, that's a decade. Yeah, that's why I went decade. I know, it's scary. Okay? Okay? So let's say that you are considering being employed by a company that will pay you $29,000 a year. Okay? But then
That's awful.
But because here's the contingency. You got to hear the whole package before you decide if it's awful or not. Okay? The whole package is that you are guaranteed a 4.5% raise every year. Okay? Okay? Which, not gonna lie to you, that's really good. Okay? If you're guaranteed it every year that you work for this company, that's really good. Okay? Alright? My question to you is, okay, you start asking yourself some questions about, do I want financially, do I want to be employed? Now, granted, this is not taking away work environment or anything of that nature. Okay? That's all separate, which comes into play when you're talking about staying at a company for 20 years. Okay? I know, pretty scary. Okay? Alright? So, my question to you is, how much money would you be making in year 20 of being employed by said company? Okay? So, to do this, you have to ask yourself one key question right at the start. And that key question is this a sum or a term? Okay? Because that's going to determine which formulas you have to use. Okay? If it's a sum, total, all included, all this, total package, etc., type of a thing, that's a sum formula. We've got to use the sum here. Okay? If it's asking for a specific term, that's a term formula. Okay? Right? So you got to kind of know which one's which. So this is a term. So that tells me that I'm going to use G sub n equals G sub 1 times R to the n minus 1 power. Okay? Well, what is the very first year? How much money did the company pay you? $29,000. So that's my first term. Okay. Do we know what our R value is? No. Okay. So we don't know what our R value is. Okay? You'll see how to find it really soon. So if you don't know what your R value is, how do we find R?
We'll take 29,000 times it by 4.5%.
Okay, what do we get when we multiply 29,000 by 4.5%? And you tell me if that's a raise or not.
1,300.
That's not a raise. That's a heck of a lot less, right? Okay? Okay? So, how do we find R? Nope, we don't have to solve for anything.
So we take the salary times 0.025.
That's what CJ just said. Okay. Alright? So, let's step back a couple of days. Let's go back to Friday. Hell, even Thursday. Okay? How would we find R? If it's Thursday or Friday, how do we find R? Look in your notes. What? Subtract? I don't know, what does your note say?
Any term divided by the previous term.
Any term divided by the previous term. So let's get a couple of terms here, right? Okay, so if we don't know R, we gotta find what some terms are. What's my first term? 29,000. Love it. What would my next term be? What would my next year 2? How much money would we make in year 2? How did you come up with that?
I added 4.5% of the original salary.
So how did you come up with that? Tell me what you did.
What I said, what CJ said before.
But what CJ got was only 1,305. And then that's the kicker that I was looking for. You have to add that number to 29,000 to get what you're making in year number 2. Okay? What would we be making in year number 3?
Is it 4.5% per year of that year's salary?
Of the previous year's salary. That's what a raise means, yes. What are we making, Carter, in year number 2, or excuse me, year number 3? Point what? 73 cents. Because remember, it's cents because it's dollars, so we only have to go out to 2 decimal places. Yeah. Okay. So she said $31,668.73, and that pattern would continue for as many years as we worked at that company. Correct? Okay. So back to what Piff said. How do we find R? Term divided by term right before it, right? Okay. So we could either take $31,668.73 and divide it by $30,305. That's $30.35. Okay. Okay. Or $30,305 divided by 29,000. Either way, what do we get for an R value? 1.045. Based off of that, how could have we right from the start gotten our R value? Yes, ma'am.
Couldn't you have added the percentage to one?
To 1 because it's a raise.
Yeah.
Okay, because it's a raise, we would add it to 1. What if this company said, we're going to decrease your salary by 4.5% per year?
Then you don't take that job.
You don't take that job, but what would you do then?
Well, you would just
Subtract what?
you would just subtract whatever you like 1.045. You would like subtract versus that 2.
No. No. Hey, get off your phone.
I'm not on my phone.
Get off your phone.
I'm not on my
So we'll go back to what Allison said before she got on her phone and started insta-facing.
I
Okay?
was checking the text.
Don't give me Lori texted me.
I thought you said you were on
Okay.
the phone.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not on it right now.
What now? Not divided by 1. Dividing by 1 doesn't change anything.
You're right.
Dividing by 1 shouldn't have changed anything.
1.045. So
Oh.
1.045 and you said no right away.
Because it's not 1. If you're decreasing, it's not 1 put. Again,
So
trust me. If you're
one
decreasing,
minus
it's what?
1 minus 0.
It's 1 minus your rate. Okay? If you're increasing, write this down. If you're increasing, your R value is 1 plus the rate. If you're decreasing, your R value is 1 minus your rate of decrease. It's got to be less than 1 in order for it to decrease. Okay? So, with that being said, which term do we now need to find? The 20th term. Okay, so we're going to find G sub 20. And that's going to be 29,000 times 1.045 raised to the 19th power, or 20 minus 1 power. So, how much money would you be making in the 20th year? Yeah. It's reality. It's reality.
It's not awful.
You know why?
Although if you have a joint income with like a spouse, then that
You know why I know this is reality?
is that your salary?
Well, I've been working there
After-
20 years now.
Okay, but like I feel like after 20 years, like that's kind of
Happens. Sometimes you get a raise, sometimes you don't. If you find a job that's willing to guarantee you a raise every single year, that's worth something.
You get a raise?
Every single year?
Just in general.
In general?
every single year.
Every single year? No.
Every other year?
Not necessarily.
Does it just happen when it happens?
What?
Does it just happen when it happens?
Happens when it gets renegotiated, yeah. And even then, sometimes it doesn't happen. Because sometimes benefits, eat up your entire raise and stuff like that. Yep. Okay? What is the total salary for the person's career after 10 years? Is this a term or is this a sum? This is a sum. So we got to use one of our sum formulas. We have two of them. Agree? Nothing.
Which one is easier to use?
Depends on what you're given. Honestly, it all depends on what you're given and what you have and what you want to find. Okay? Okay? So, do I know G sub 1? That shows up in both of them. What do we got? 29,000. Do I know R? That shows up in both of them. What is it? 1.045. Do I know N? What is it? 10?
Yeah.
Okay. If we wanted to find G sub N, we could calculate it if we wanted to. What do we got? What do we got?
Yeah, it seems like a fine answer.
Mm-hmm.
$356,377.78.
Do we agree? $356,377.77 or 0.78?
178.
0.78. See?
I think that Franklin
Me too.
is wrong.
So
It's super high, I feel like it's wrong.
Okay.
I feel like mine's wrong.
I also got something different.
What did he get?
Not the right answer.
Wait, what did he get though? Like what
So
number?
then I,
He got 356,377.78.
I got 356, 358.
0.0718.
Really? Did
0.07.
Is that what you got?
That's what I just wrote down, isn't it?
Just check.
Wow. Maybe you should text mom and see what mom got. Yeah, yeah. Two-way street, sister.
Whatever. I was confused.
Anybody need help with their calculator trying to figure out how to get that answer? Take that as a no. All right, let's go to a different style of problem. A ball is dropped from 6 feet. when the ball bounces, it rebounds to 75% of the previous height. Find the total distance in feet that the ball travels in its first 7 bounces.
Would this be one of those examples of like the rate reaching 1 minus, or is it rate minus
It's decreasing.
It would be 1 minus the rate. Okay.
It'd be 1 minus the rate, but what's the rate?
No, 0.25.
The rate is 0.25.
Because that's how much it's decreasing.
That's what it's decreasing by.
When it goes back up, it's increasing by, like, okay.
It's not increasing. When you bounce a ball, the ball doesn't get higher. Unless it actually not even with a Super Bowl.
Sydney, you're
Just
calculating what
I'm
Sydney,
just,
the
just
rate-
ignore me.
Okay.
the rate is
What do you think would be helpful with this problem?
setting up the equation?
What do you think would be helpful? Find some values first. Okay. So the ball drops 6 feet, right? Right? Then what happens?
Then it bounces and it rebounds 75% of the previous height.
So it hits the ground, comes back up. How far back does it come up? My question was, how far back does it go back up? 4.5 feet. How'd you come up with 4.5 feet?
So 75% of 6.
75% of 6 is 4.5. Now what happens? How far down does it go? Goes all the way because it's got to hit the ground again, right? So it comes all the way back down 4.5 feet. And then what?
75% of
3.375.
Then what? And then it goes back up how high? Yeah. Now we're talking bounces, right? Where did the ball bounce? Right here, right? Okay. Then this would be the second bounce, third bounce. Agree?
Yep.
Okay. How do you want to attack this problem?
Could we tell what it was when it was going down?
That would be how far it would travel, wouldn't it?
Was your first term 6 plus 4.5?
Which is what?
Oh.
10.5.
Okay, so if we're going down that path, if our first term is 10.5, what would our second term be?
7.75.
Our third term. 875. That's 78.5. What would our third term be? If that's the case, what is the R value in that sequence? All the way through for both of them? Because if it is, we can use it. If it's not, we can't. You know what I mean? You understand what I'm saying? It is?
Yeah.
Okay. So that gives me a sequence with an R value of 0.75. Is this a sum or a term? Why is it a sum?
I have to find what total is.
Total. Keyword. Total. Okay? So the sum of the first 7 bounces would be, my first term would be 10.5. My R value would be 0.75 to the 7th power minus 1 all over R minus 1. What do we get?
The final answer. I got 36.39.
Feet? Yes?
Yeah.
Questions, comments, concerns, clarifications? Hey, it's not concert week.
Yes, it is. And I have a conflict with Money Matters.
You said that you would be here all week this week.
After Monday. I told you after Monday.
Probably did this.
Maybe.
Thank you.
Told you after Monday.
Certain strain of bacteria decays over time. If 87% of the bacteria is left every day, how many grams are left after 12 full days? If there were 1,456 grams at the start of day number 1. Go for it. agree that my R value is 0.87? Okay. Do you agree with my logic that I have written in there? 1456 was said in the problem as the start of day 1, correct? Which means then that 1266.72 would be at the start of day 2, which is the end of day 1. Agree. Okay. With that being said then, is this a term or is this a sum? The term. So we are looking for the end of 12 days, correct? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. So I am actually looking for the 13th term. Right? If I'm looking for how many are after 12 days, that is the start of the 13th day. Questions, comments, concerns about that one? Good? Your homework this evening is going to be a worksheet. It is going to be due on Wednesday, the day of your quiz. I remind you that there is a formative tomorrow in the Resource Center.